So, you want to learn how to use your crappy drawing tablet with Blender. Well, you came to the right place. So before we get to the nitty-gritty of things, make sure you have the latest driver installed. I don't need to worry about this because my tablet drivers haven't updated since 2015, because I'm poor. But just make sure yours is up to date. It's standard stuff. Let's move on. So next comes software problems, because of course there are software problems. Things couldn't just be simple, could they? Here's the problem. You have your Windows computer, and it's working great. And you also have your tablet, and that's working fine. And then there's a driver in the center that makes sure the tablet can talk to the computer. Perfect, right? Well, Microsoft has this special piece of software that works as an intermediary between the driver and the computer to make sure that all tablets work the same. The thing is, there are actually two versions of it. One that's the old version and one that's the new hip Windows 10 version, and neither of them work properly with Blender. Because why would they? So, the way I'd love to use Blender is to be able to have my main button on my mouse set to middle click, so then I can orbit around my object no problem, and everything works fine. Now the problem with that is, if I go to my grab brush and I try and move, it takes a second. I grab something and it doesn't move immediately. I need to actually move my mouse pretty far before it even works. Now this is due to the tablet API, which is this thing down in the bottom. It's set to automatic at the moment, but what it's actually set to is WinTab. WinTab is the old version, Windows Ink is the new hip Windows 10 version. Don't use WinTab. Now with Windows Ink, grabbing moves perfectly. It moves exactly the way I want it to. However, of course, it couldn't just work exactly the way it's supposed to. If I try and move around, try and orbit, middle mouse button doesn't work. So my solution to this is quite simple. I turn on Emulate 3-button mouse. What this means is you can hold down Alt and click in order to orbit. I then set this up in my Wacom preferences, and there we go. Everything works fine. You hold down the button on your pen, and then you just click and drag to move around. Make sure to keep your preferences window open on the side where you can access it again, because regular modeling with a mouse is very difficult to do without the Alt key. Now another little quick tip, if you go to Key Map, turn on these three checkboxes. Tap for pie menu on drag, and extra shading pie menus. This just makes it easier to do stuff in general. I keep them on even when I'm not using a tablet. Holding down Tab reveals this pie menu, which allows you to switch between all the different modes pretty easily. And pressing Z reveals everything that you see when you press Alt Z as well. So having both of them on is very beneficial. If you use the buttons on your tablet, I don't, but if you do, I recommend you set one to F and one to W. W lets you pick the brush, and F lets you change the size of the brush. This video is sponsored by no one, because I don't have many followers, so please consider subscribing because I want extra fake internet points. Thank you very much. Goodbye.